No slowdown in investments reflected in statistics triggered by the revision of the India-Mauritius Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement. Over the 9-month period including April to December 2016, total equity inflow investment from Mauritius amounted to $12.8 billion compared to $8.35 billion in the preceding 12 months. The transformation of the African television and entertainment in the coming years, big players of the TV industry met to discuss on the digital transition in Africa, the challenges for broadcasters, the evolution of local content, pay TV, VOD and OTT. China's President Xi Jinping has pledged $124 billion as part of the ambitious economic plan to rebuild ports, roads and rail networks, a scheme known as the Belt and Road Initiative. The recent amendment to the India-Mauritius Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement presents challenges as well as new opportunities. While there was a fear of slowdown in investments, a spurt is reflected in statistics.
For the DTA, the solution which has been worked for the smooth transition, has it been a success?
Well, I think so far the going and all the indications are very positive. We not only have, as I have said before, preserved the edge for Mauritius under a series of amendments to India's double taxation avoidance agreements with other countries. In particular, the withholding tax for Mauritius is only 7.5%, which gives Mauritius a special edge, a clear edge over other competing jurisdictions. So, arising from this basic fact that Mauritian has not only MFN but MFN plus treatment, there are quite a few benefits that we envisage will be accruing to Mauritius. On the bilateral front, of course, it has enabled some very important resumption of talks, particularly SECPA. And for talks which were stalled or paused, I would say, from 2006, enabling Indian investors to now, genuine Indian investors and people who want to use Mauritius as the gateway for Africa, to use to go forward with SECPA. So it has very importantly generated a confidence in this arrangement. Coming to the actual effect or the impact of DTAC amendment so far. In fact, contrary to what people believed, and this is something I would like to emphasize, in fact the DTAC amendment has led to a spurt in investments. In the 9-month period from April to December 2016, the total equity inflow from Mauritius to India was US dollars 12.8 billion. Compared to US dollars 8.35 billion in the preceding 12-month period, a longer period. So in comparison, equity inflows and investments from other competing jurisdictions declined during this period. Hence, I'm very happy to say that rather than a slowdown, in fact there has been a spurt in inflows in India after the treaty has been amended. So we see Mauritius having preserved its edge, clearly MFN plus, resumption of SECPA negotiations, and in fact a spurt in investment inflows. I think every which way this has created a base for win-win cooperation, a win-win situation between India and Mauritius.
What is the future of television in Africa? How to propel it to the next level? CEOs from across the world and from African televisions meet at the Hilton Hotel at the next TV CEO Africa Summit to talk on the transformation of African television. We meet with some of them and discuss their opinions.
The quality is getting better. the output is getting better. People are more interested in watching their own local content. So local people are interested in their content, and international people are realizing that if they want to enter markets, they have to localize. So you have international players localizing and working with local content producers to localize content. And that is what we are seeing gaining traction.
Previously, Africa was looking to the world, but now the world is looking towards Africa.
Yes, definitely. International players are realizing that in order to expand their audience and sustain the audience that they have to work with local content.
And also with the coming of VOD and OTT, so the other countries, for example, America and Australia, England, and all cannot produce that much content which is needed, because much is needed, and now this is why African content is more necessary.
Agreed. I mean, you have, even right now, it's not just linear TV, especially the youth, the young people. They go online to watch their content. I mean, Netflix has entered Nigeria. That makes it more accessible for people to just, pull up their tablets and watch TV. The argument why I think internet TV has not expanded greatly in Nigeria is because of broadband. The broadband speed is still very slow, but it's getting better. And the better it gets, the more online TV is going to penetrate into the market.
We see Africa is a continent which is on the move, but you just mentioned conflicts. So a continent which is on the move, and then there are also conflicts. So how is the work being done?
No, that's all the interesting part, basically. 1 billion people in Africa, but the conflicts are concerning 100 million people. So what are the 9 other 100 million people doing? They are not affected by conflicts. They are living their usual life. In Somalia, for example, we have a team of 3-4 journalists. Yes, they are covering daily attacks in Mogadishu, things like that. But we are always as well interested in local entrepreneurship. You've got a pressing for clothes, which just opened in Mogadishu. It's a great story. And it will play better even than the unfortunately usual terror attack in Mogadishu.
And have you been able to watch local content from Mauritius a bit?
Yes, a lot. Well, Mauritius is very diverse in terms of media. That's for TV, that's for print, for magazine. Many Mauritius media actually are subscribing to AFP. But on the other hand, yes, it's a good example. Mauritius has been able to reinvent itself from cane sugar to textile, from textile to call centers, from call centers to IT, now the sea environment economy. It's almost a showcase for the rest of Africa.
And any possible collaborations with the Mauritius Broadcasting Corporation?
We'd just love to. You're very big, you have a lot of nice features, so we would love to have this partnership where you would basically get our content, but you would also say, hey guys, we would like you to do this and that stories. We're just waiting for that.
The developments in sub-Saharan Africa are faster than we are coming up with the new ideas and new programs. So we have always to keep up with these changes. The market is very developed, very fast moving. And then it comes also to the technical challenges that we are facing as well. Like if we supply our partners with a program, how can we give it to them? On which ways? Always to seek for the best satellite, the best way you can also communicate with them.
So for years now, Africa as a continent, as countries from Africa have taken content from Europe, from America. And now is Europe ready, or is it already taking in content from Africa?
Totally. For myself, I have a small daughter, and we have in the TV a new TV cartoon, and it is coming from Eastern Africa. They have their Tinga Tinga art in painting, and they have created a cartoon with Tinga Tinga painting, and it's running very, very good in Germany. Plus that, when you come to Germany, when you come to Deutsche Welle, we have now co-production with two big media houses, one of them Channel TV in Nigeria and one with the Standard Group in Kenya. They are supplying us with reports. We are supplying them also with reports. We're having a combined show called Echoed Africa, Best Practice Environmental Topics. So actually we're already working together. We're taking reports from them, they are taking reports from us, and it's working wonderfully actually.
You have to make sure that the content is protected from the beginning. So whenever it is consumed, the consumer has to use a device that makes it traceable. I'm talking specifically about watermarking, which is a good tool on the internet to trace what is happening with your content. So you have to make sure that, at least when you have premium content, that it is well protected from the source and that it is consumed in somewhat controlled environment, so you can detect what is happening with it after, if it is redistributed.
Le déploiement d'un réseau terrestre coûte beaucoup d'argent. Ça prend du temps, alors que si on utilise le satellite pour faire parvenir les chaînes de télévision aux personnes qui veulent les regarder à la maison, le satellite, par l'intermédiaire d'une parabole, permet d'avoir directement accès aux chaînes de télévision. Le déploiement d'un réseau terrestre, par contre, bien qu'il soit efficace dans les centres urbains, prend beaucoup de temps et coûte beaucoup d'argent.
Est-ce que vous pensez que l'Afrique a le potentiel d'augmenter donc la diffusion par satellite comparé à la télévision terrestre numérique?
Alors pour l'Afrique, c'est le cas d'école idéal en fait, parce que l'Afrique c'est un très grand territoire, les pays sont grands, les populations sont généralement dispersées, il y a des grands centres urbains, c'est vrai, mais il y a beaucoup de gens qui sont aussi à l'écart. J'en ai parlé lors de mon speech, l'importance du satellite en Afrique, c'est pour effectivement permettre à tous ces gens d'être connectés, que ce soit à l'Internet ou que ce soit à la possibilité de recevoir les chaînes de télévision. Le satellite, c'est immédiat, instantané. L'Afrique, c'est grand et c'est dispersé, donc le match est parfait.
We have to change the way we do things. That's why at UBC we've decided to open other channels that represent our populace, more youthful channels and more interactive channels that use the OTT platforms. So that's where we're going.
And these days we have big television corporations, old television corporations like the BBC, Deutsche Welle and all who are into Africa. And is that a challenge for us?
We know our market and we know our people. For example, at UBC, our aim, and in fact the managing director will tell you this, our aim is to make sure that we're producing local content for our local populace. So yes, these international bodies can come in and try to do what it is that we do, but no one can be as good as a national broadcaster because we're able to tell our stories the best way we know how because we know our population.
So in a way we can complement each other.
We can certainly complement each other, and UBC already has had major partnerships over the years with CFI, with BBC, with Deutsche Welle, with CGTN. We're currently working with CGTN under the ALU, which is the Africa Link Union, which sees African countries sharing their stories with each other. African stories told by Africans for an African population. And of course, we're also partnering with Russian news. So yes, they're supposed to come in, partner, and complement us. And we also exchange, we want to see a further exchange in training, for example. Would like to see, yes, these corporations go and train our staff, yes, but then they can also come and also see how we do things here in Africa.
There is no other way than to partner. Partner both at the production level, partner both at technology level, partner both at management level. Because at the end of the day, what you have to do is you have to create. You have to innovate. We create something whereby we can pull our synergy together and work together in see how we can equate the optimization of technology and innovation. The technology is there. We can go to any type of technology, be it HD, be it UHD, be it anything. But the prime thing is to ensure that you have the right content. And not only the right content in terms of foreign content, but more importantly, the right local content. Because today we don't say content is king, we say local content is king. Why? Because by having local content, this is the best way for you to differentiate yourself. And that's one of the main reasons why when I came as NBC, I wanted to focus on local content and have more content on NBC One, have more content on sports channel, have more content on other channels. And not only content in terms of produce, pre-produce, produce or post-produce, but also live programs. Live programs cost less. So you have more live programs, you spend less, and you have less foreign program purchase, you spend less. So at the end of the day, you can cut costs while using that money for improving on your quality content.
And we also say that we can learn a lot from other television stations from the world. But what can they learn from the NBC?
Well, NBC, Mauritius, NBC, and MCML, if I can say so, we were the first country in Africa to move to digital. As I said, our studio now, in terms of equipment that are available, is all technology, digital technology. It's all seamless, but it's 10 years or more old. And we have to adopt the new one. And it will be good for us if we adopt the latest one. And by adopting the latest one, which normally is the IP technology, it is the internet protocol that is now the future. Today we say IP is the future. When I talk about IP, I'm talking about the internal digitalization within NBC, which now must be moving towards IP. So by having IP at the beginning and IP at the end before moving to transmission, then you may choose your high definition or UHD definition or whatever else.
What is the next step for the NBC?
No, as far as NBC is concerned, well, you know better than me that the finance of the NBC was not in a good position, but we managed to bring it down to nearly 70%, which means that we do have some debts, but we have to manage it. And we have a revenue coming from license and coming from advertisement. You must know better than me as well that we cannot change the licensee because we are already paying 150, and the only component that we can manage to change is the advertising revenue, and we are looking forward to improve it. And to improve it, there is no other way than to ensure that we get not only good content, because today we talk about content fragmentation, and we talk about content fragmentation. So you have different content for different groups, not only content in terms of normal content, TV, but also mobile content. And I think now time has come for us to focus on mobile content, to focus on content that were not there before. Example, business content. We've got multimedia content. I'm thinking of multimedia broadcasting. Why can't we have part of our channel, one channel, part of it, focusing on multimedia broadcasting? You must know that one country is very good in that is South Korea, and it's not difficult, so long as you've got multimedia system, so that you've got multimedia unit, so long as you've got multimedia play, you've got multimedia, you've got NBC Web, NBC Facebook, and NBC YouTube. Then to move to multimedia broadcasting, it's not difficult. So I think this is the next step.
If President Donald Trump is opening a void by withdrawing American leadership on global trade, President Xi Jinping is determined to fill it, and the world is taking notice of the shift. Nearly 30 heads of state, the chiefs of the International Monetary Fund, World Bank, the UN and delegates from around the world converged on Beijing on Sunday for a conference promoting China's Belt and Road Initiative, its new Silk Road. The plan aims to expand trade links between Asia, Africa, Europe and beyond. part of the massive funding boost, which is aimed at strengthening China's links with its trading partners, includes $9 billion in aid to developing countries and international institutions that form part of the Belt and Road project. Xi used his speech to assure Western diplomats that the plan described as the New Silk Road was not simply an attempt to promote Chinese influence globally. In his keynote address on Sunday, Xi talked of a new model of win-win cooperation, an implicit bid for Chinese global leadership at a time when other big economic powers like the US and the European Union are preoccupied with internal problems.
2014年至2016年，中国同“一带一路”沿线国家贸易总额
Total trade between China and other Belt and Road countries has exceeded $3 trillion from 2014 to 2016, and China's investment in these countries has surpassed $50 billion. Chinese companies have set up 56 economic cooperation zones in over 20 countries, generating for those countries some $1.1 billion of tax revenue and 180,000 jobs.
The plan is usually an ambitious one to build roads, rails, ports, pipelines, and other infrastructure joining China to Central Asia, Europe, and Africa by land and sea. Spurs from the overland belt and the maritime road reach into Southeast Asia and towards the Indian Ocean as well. Some $900 billion of investments, financed by a variety of Chinese or China banks and credit funds, are projected.
Business Connect ends here. Find us on Facebook and the MBC website. Have a great week. Bye-bye.